Dear students, today we will see data types in Python programming. Data types in Python programming. So already without knowing what is data type, which we used variables and we assigned the values and which we performed operate, what is an operator, what is an expression, how we can evaluate expression, how we can work with different types of operators, which we saw like operators again, arithmetic operators or mathematical operators. So then we saw assignment operators, which is also called as shorthand operators. Then we saw logical operators. Then we saw relational operators. Then we saw membership operators. So now we will see data types, how we can make use. Already Python programming introduction which we come to know. So Python is a dynamic typing, which means you no need to specify the data type of particular variable or constant. So directly which you can assign the value to a variable so that automatically the interpreter which treats based on the value which we assign to a variable, yes, this is particular data type. Now we'll see data types when it comes to most of the computer programming languages support data type, variables, operators and expressions like fundamentals. Python also supports data types. Okay, so what is a data type? Simplest way which you can say data type is a classification of data item. The classification of data item is called data type. So same way which you can say another way, data type specifies which type of value a variable can hold or store. Which type of data type specifies which type of value a variable can store. Okay, so that is how data type which specifies. Same way, there is a function called type function which is used to determine a variable's type in Python programming. Suppose the variable which you define and the value which you assigned, which you wanted to know which data type the value which it was assigned to a variable, then you can make use the predefined function type. So for example, if you take it a equal to 10 and if you want to know the data type of that particular variable, then you can specify print type of a, then which will give you the data type. Okay, so you can see the diagram of data types in Python programming, how it is classified. How it is classified. We can see in the diagram data types in Python which is classified into numbers. Numbers again there are three types: integer numbers, floating point numbers, complex numbers. So integers again which is a another one is integers, within integers Boolean value. Okay, true or false which represents. Boolean is the subset of integers. Okay, so this is how numbers is classified. Same way other kind of data types like sequences, an ordered collection of data items which we call sequence. There are different kinds of sequences which you can make use in Python programming, that is strings, lists, tuples. Strings, lists, tuples. Okay, same way. So another data type sets. Same way none. Same way other data type mappings. So far in Python programming mappings which you can see only one type of mapping, that is dictionaries. That is dictionaries. So clearly you can see here in this diagram what are the different data types which we use in Python programming. So all these which we will get into it one by one, the way how we can make use of data types in Python programming. Data types in Python programming. So number, so which you can see list of data types in Python programming, same diagram which we represented in another format here, the way which you can write it. So number, so which is three types: integer again subtype Boolean. So then floating point numbers, complex numbers, then those all are called as number data types in Python programming. Then none means if you don't have any value to assign a variable or constant, then you can specify none. Okay, so nothing which is not like a zero or which is not like a false value, which is not like a empty string value. Okay, so sequence types are string, tuple, list, which you can see sequence is nothing but unordered collection of data items which we call it as sequence. Three types of sequence: string, tuple, list. Then sets, an unordered collection of data items or values which we call it as sets. Okay, then mappings also an unordered collection of data items or values which we call it as mappings. There is only one mapping so far in Python programming, that is dictionaries. Okay, dictionary. Now we'll get into it one by one, how we can make use this. Before getting into the data types, you should know one more thing, that is mutable and immutable data types. Mutable and immutable data types. A mutable data type can change its state or contents. A mutable data type can change its state or contents. The variable which you define value which can be changed further, then that type of data type which we call it as mutable data type. And immutable data type cannot be changed. Once the value is assigned to a variable, that value cannot be changed, then that type of data type which we call it as immutable data type. Immutable data type which cannot be changed. You can see the examples below: mutable data types, immutable data types. So mutable data types like list, dictionaries, sets, byte array, user defined classes. Okay, these all are mutable data types which you can change. So user defined classes, there is object oriented programming concept in Python. If you proceed advanced programming, then you will see you can create your own classes to define your application based on your requirement. So that is how user defined classes comes into the picture. Okay, so for our curriculum we don't have the concept of object oriented programming, so we'll just see list, dictionaries and sets. So these are mutable type. Immutable data types, all basic data types like int, float, complex, string, tuple, bytes, boolean. And sets, there is some time which we call it as immutable type. That type of set values which we call it as frozen set. So frozen set is immutable, normal set is mutable. Okay, so that is what the major thing which you want to know, difference between set and frozen set, immutable and mutable types. Okay, how can check mutability? Okay, so mutability can be checked with the id method. There is a predefined method called object identity which you want to check. The object identity which you can check with the help of id function, predefined function. So which will give you the particular variable memory address in the computer. So whatever address which was allocated to a variable, that address will be shown to you. So once it assigns a address, then that one will not be changed at any point of time. So that is how which we call it as identity of variable, x equal to 10. Okay, so which you can check with identity print id of x, which will give you the memory address value. Okay, same way x equal to 20, this again will give you the memory address of this particular variable. Even the variable name is same, but the value which it was assigned different values, you will see different memory addresses which it was allocated for those two values. Idea of both print statement is different, as integer is immutable, integer type is immutable. Now we'll see, we'll get into the actual data type, numbers in Python. Okay, so it is used to store numeric values. The most powerful one, basic one which we use, numerical calculations, numerical values which you want to define for our application, then we'll be using number data type. So it is used to store numerical values. Python has three numerical types: integer numbers, floating point numbers, complex numbers. Okay, so these are the three types of numbers data types in Python. Okay, now we'll see one by one. First, integers. How we can use integers? Integers are int, whichever which you call it as. Either you can call it as integers or int, or positive or negative numbers with no decimal point, no precision point. Okay, no fractional value, that which we call it as integer in Python. So integers in Python 3 are of unlimited size. Python 3 version 3 which you can make use, then unlimited size which can hold the integer variable. Okay, so examples how we can define integer variables which you can see, that is example a equal to 100, b equal to minus 100, this is positive number, this is negative number. Then c equal to 10 into 20, where it will calculate the multiplication of 10 into 20 and which will store into the c variable. So now all three variables can be printed, which you can see the output a, b, print a, print b, print c, which you will get finally output like this: 100, minus 100, 200. Okay, so that is how integers can be defined. Next, second one is another type of numbers, floating point numbers. Another type of numbers, floating point numbers, which you can see here. So it is a positive or negative real numbers with a decimal point. So floating point numbers also, which can be represented as a positive number or negative number. So real numbers with a decimal point or fractional values. Examples: a equal to 101.2, b equal to minus 101.4. So same way, a equal to 10.10, like that, which you can define. C equal to 111.23, which you can see, and d equal to 2.3 into 3, which we specified. There are four variables which we specified here, four which you can print a, print b, print c, print d. Then you will see the output of all those four variables which we define floating point data type, okay. So now another type of numbers is complex numbers in Python programming. Complex numbers in Python programming. We can see complex numbers, how can make use. Complex numbers are combination of real and imaginary part. Floating point numbers, you will see only real part. So on here you can see real and imaginary part. Complex numbers are in the form of x plus yj. General syntax, complex number, how it can be defined, which you can see x plus yj format. Okay. Then we can see where x is the real part and y is imaginary part. So this is the formula which we follow for complex number defining. Then in that, x is a real part specifies and y is imaginary part which will specify. Okay. So examples: x equal to 1 plus 0j and y equal to 9 minus 5j. Like this you can define the complex numbers. Okay. Now a equal to complex of, there is a function called complex which you can make use predefined. Complex of 5, here only which one value when you are passing as a parameter, the argument, then that one will treat like convert 5 to a real part value and 0 imaginary part, because we didn't specify the imaginary value, that's why by default which will hold the 0. Then if you print that a, then you will see a real part of that complex number. Same way, b equal to complex of 101 comma 23. So here which we provided real value as well as imaginary value. Then you can see here 101 will treat as real part and 23 as imaginary part in the complex number. Okay, print b. Then you will see the final outputs of both a and b variables which we define complex type. Okay, that is how all three kinds of numbers data types which we use in Python programming. Next, so Boolean is another type is related to numbers. Boolean is a subset of integer data type. So how I can make use this? It is used to store two possible values, either true or false. Boolean is used to store the two types of values, those are called true or false. Example which you can see, string variable which we define computer science and which we are checking the either another variable which we took boolean boo equal to the variable string which we defined earlier dot. There is a function called is upper predefined function in strings. Okay, string functions which will check whether the defined value is in uppercase or not. If it is uppercase, then you will get a true, or else you will get false. The value which we define here is all are lowercase characters, alphabets. Okay, then you will get output as false. That is how boolean which works. Like for example, a equal to 10, if you take it, then if you check, so 10 double equal to 0, print 10 double equal to 0 condition. So 10 is not equal to 0, then you will get false. Okay, boolean value which will return the condition which you check, either true or false. Okay, so that is how boolean can be used in Python programming. Now before getting into the another thing, so now we'll see one more thing like type conversion. Okay, so type conversion, converting one data type into another data type is called type conversion. Converting one data type value into another data type value is called type conversion. So there are two types of type conversion in Python programming which you can see: implicit type conversion, explicit type conversion. Implicit and explicit, two types of conversions. The moment when you say implicit conversion. Interpreter automatically converts the data type. The interpreter automatically converts the data type, that which we call it as implicit conversion. We don't need to do anything for implicit conversion. So explicit conversion, programmer specifies the conversion. Programmer specifies the conversion. Whatever value which it was taken, which you want to convert another type of data type value, then you can make use functions like examples int, any value which is given to convert into the integer format. Same way, given input value to convert into float value. Same way, given input value to convert into string value. Same way, given input value to convert into Boolean value. These are the predefined functions which you can make use to convert the specific type given input value, any format value. So we will see examples here. Integer. So int function converts any data type into integer type. So int function, predefined function which converts any data type into integer type. Example which you can see, a equal to 101. Generally 101 is a number but which you enclosed with quotations. The moment when you enclose with quotation, that becomes a string value. That becomes a string value. You can see comment which we specified right side. Okay, string value. That string value which you want to convert to a integer, then you can use the int function of a. This one will convert the string value to integer, then which will assign to a b variable. Okay, same way which we are passing integer function 122.4, this is the float value which you want to convert integer and then which you want to store into a c variable, which you can see clearly, and then which we printed b and c variables. Okay, so now if you want to check the data type, yes, you can check by using predefined function type, print type of b and print type of c. After the conversion, type conversion, which you can see the data type of those two variables, then you will come to know the way how it is working in a program. Type conversion, explicit type conversion. Okay, same way which you can see output. Then floating point numbers, another example, type conversion, which you can see float function converts any data type into floating point number, which converts any data type into floating point number, float function. Example, so which we specified string value, again a equal to, within the quotation means string value. So pass it to a float function which will convert to the float value and which will assign to a variable b. Then float value, so which you can see integer value which we are passing, float function which will convert into integer, then which will assign to c variable. You can see clearly. Then we are printing b and c variables and we are checking again after the type conversion, we are checking the values are which data type it is, which data type it is. Okay, so that is how which you can see type conversion, the way same manner which you can convert type conversion, which you can see such a way that. Okay, now we are proceeding with another data type, that is none. How we can make use none? How we can make use none? So none, it is a single value. The moment you say none, which is a single value, none is a single value, and also which is a predefined keyword. None is a predefined keyword, same manner which you want to make use. So it is data type, its own itself, it is a data type which we call it as, even though predefined keyword, but still which we call it as none is a data type in Python programming. By itself, it is having class called none type. There is a class within the Python none type, and none can be none only. None can be none only, which cannot hold any value, which can hold only none. Okay, so that's why which we call it as none is not the same as zero value. It is not false or it is not an empty string value. So x equal to none when you define, which means nothing. The variable x is not holding anything other than none. So display method if you use, then which will not show you any output. If you use the print method, predefined method, print x, then you will see output as none. Then you will see output as none. So that is how which you can make use none data type in Python programming. None data type in Python programming. Yes, we are proceeding with another one, sequence. It is an ordered collection of items. It is an ordered collection of items or values which we call it as sequence. Which we call it as sequence. There are three types of sequence, that is string, tuple, list. Three types of sequence are in Python: string, tuple and list. Now we'll see one by one. Strings, how we can make use strings. Okay, so a string is a sequence of characters or letters. A string is a sequence of characters or letters which we call it as string. In Python we can create string. In Python we can create a string variable and which we can assign value with the help of single quote or double quote or triple quotes. So if it is single value, single line value which you are passing string variable assignment, then which you can define either single quote or double quote. Suppose if you want to assign multi-line string value to a string variable, then you can go for uses of triple quotation. Okay. Now we'll see example name equal to Suresh, which we enclosed with double quotation mark string value. Okay. Then same way which you can see str equal to within the single quote computer science. Okay. Same way another variable which we took str equal to hello world. Okay. Now we'll see all these the way how we can make use printing. So print str. Okay. So recent one which we define hello world, you will get output as hello world on this particular print statement. In this print statement. Same way which you want to get specific character by using index number str of 0. Okay. So which will hold the first character of your string value. So h, that is h. Same way which you can see another print function which we use, there is a concept called slices. By using slices which you can extract subset of the given set of sequence. Okay, given sequence value which you want to extract subset value, then you can go for uses of slices in Python. Okay, so 1 colon 3, so start value stop value which is represented. So print string from position 1 to 3, so the value which you can get output, that you will see the way how you can get that while executing practical. Same manner another type of slices which you can see str of 3 start number which we specified, then stop we didn't specify, which means start with 3 character, that is 0 1 2. 2 is the position value which starts and which goes complete sequence of that particular string value as an output. The same way another two types of string operators which you can use, multiplication and plus addition. The way how it works, str into 2 which is nothing but, so which will not do actually multiplication operation because which is a string value. So which will do here, instead of multiplication string value will be repeated that many number of times. 2 means 2 times string value will be repeated, replicated. Same way plus when you use which is a concatenation which is not addition in strings. Okay, so string value will be concatenated with another string value, that is why which we call it as string concatenation. Okay, you can see the output here, all the things which we executed str which we specified, that value will be printed 2 times, value will be printed 2 times. Same way concatenation, that value with the another string value s which we use, which will be concatenated end of the first string value. Okay, so that is how strings can be used. Strings are immutable. Strings are immutable in Python programming. So next type of sequence, tuple. Next type of sequence, tuple. Okay, so it is sequence of values of any type. Tuple is a sequence of values of any type. These are immutable. Tuples also immutable in Python programming. It is enclosed, it is always enclosed with parenthesis. Tuple values are enclosed with parenthesis. Tuple values are enclosed with parenthesis. The way how we can define examples which you can see. So this is which we call it as a empty tuple. There is no data which we define a tuple variable. Then print which will show empty. Same way another tuple variable which we passed arguments 1 comma 2 comma 3. here data which contains a tuple variable 1 2 3. Okay, same way another example, another way which you can make use such a way that you can see. So tuple variable which we define tup equal to, so already we know that which is enclosed with parenthesis or open braces, 66 and 99. There are two values which we assign, and index numbers which starts with 0 1 and so on which goes, and we are trying to change the 0 index value 66 to 3. This is the statement which we are trying to change the tuple value, but which will not be taken place, which will give you the error, because tuple is a type immutable type. Once you assign, which will not be changed. Okay, that is why you will get error message when you are trying to change the value. Okay, that's the major immutable and mutable difference. Immutable cannot be changed, mutable can be changed. Now we are printing both. We are printing both with the help of index directly, which you can print by using tuple variable. By using tuple variable, that you will see executing practical. Same way, another type of sequence is list. Another type of sequence is list. It is a sequence of values of any type. A list are mutable in Python. It is enclosed always in square brackets or big brackets. List value is enclosed always with square brackets or big brackets, which we call it as. Empty list can be defined such a way that my underscore list is a variable name, list variable name, and when you specify empty brackets, which is empty list. Same way, how you can assign the values, either string value or float values or numbers, numeric values, integer values. So even tuple also you can define that string values, but wherever you are assigning string values, either you can enclose with single quotation or double quotation or triple quotation, then that value becomes string value. So list equal to another type is numeric values 6 comma 9, and list of 0 equal to 55. So here 6 which we want to change it to a 55 as, which can be changed. Here we will not get any error because list is a mutable type in Python. You can see after changing, when you print the index, then you will see the output, the changed value. Then you will get output, the changed value. Okay, so that is how list data type can be used within the Python programming. Within the Python programming, you can see output, the way how you can make use. Okay, now sets in Python programming. Sets in Python programming. So it is an unordered collection of values of any type with no duplicate entry. So set is a unordered collection of values or data items of any type with no duplicate entry. So it is always enclosed with curly braces, or sometimes which you can see which can be used parenthesis also. Curly braces as well as parenthesis depends on the usage of set values, then you can go for either curly braces or parenthesis. Sets are mutable. Sets are mutable in Python programming. Now you can see here the way how you can define, if you want to define set, empty set, then you must make use parenthesis. Empty set can be always defined with the help of parentheses. Otherwise, the curly braces which you make uses, but which will give you as dictionary, because dictionary follows curly braces. So print my set, and the way how we can assign the values as we used curly braces. Here we can see as a set output. Okay. So same way another data example which we define set variable, which you can see 11 comma 22 comma 33 comma 22. Print the set value as you can get the output such a way that, okay, you will get the output such a way that, so here you will get 11 comma 22 comma 33. Okay, so we'll see the sets how it takes place. Duplicate without no duplicate entry. Here the 22 we use two times, but which will be considered only once. That's why you will get output as three values. Output as three values in set. Okay, We should not contain any duplicate values. That we must take care of that. It should not be repeated the same value. Okay. So that is how list sets can be used in Python programming. Sets can be used data types in Python programming. Now another one is mappings. Another one, last one in data types in Python programming, mappings. You can see mappings. It is an unordered collection of values or items of any type, which we call it as mapping. Okay, it is an unordered collection of values or data items of any type. It may be a integer values or float values or string values, a tuple, a list, or string, whatever type of value data which you can make use, which may be unordered collection. Okay, then we call it as mapping. So far in Python programming, only one mapping type which is available, that is dictionary. That is dictionary. So it can store dictionaries. It can store any number of Python objects. Unlimited Python objects can be stored dictionaries. Okay. So what they store is a key value pairs. How the value, the data is stored in the dictionary object, key value pairs, which are accessed using key. So values always accessed within the dictionary with the help of key, the help of key. Then dictionary data, how it is represented? It is always enclosed in curly braces or curly brackets or curly braces. Always dictionary data which will be enclosed with curly braces, which will be enclosed with curly braces. Then you can define empty dictionary. You can define empty dictionary the way how you can define. So my dictionary is a variable name equal to empty curly braces when you define, which means empty dictionary without any content. Then you can take it as another example, my underscore dictionary equal to key 1, and key and value always which is separated with the help of colon. Key and value is separated with help of colon. You can see key is 1 and the colon, and right hand side, left hand side is key, right hand side is value. That complete together, which we call it as key value pair. Key value pair, this complete one. Okay, same way another key value pair. Okay, another key value pair, same way another key value pair, this complete. There are three key value pairs which holding this particular dictionary variable, this particular dictionary variable. So you can print same thing, print of my underscore dictionary. Then we see another example which we define. In this case, which we define, key is a string value and value also a string value, which you can see subject key and value is computer science. Same way class is a key and value is 11th standard, 11th standard. Okay, so you can print the dictionary which will get both values, complete dictionary values as an output. If you want to get a specific one by using key, yes, you can get variable name of that key value, which you can get value of specific key. Same way which you can make use another format by using predefined function called get function of dictionary. Predefined function of dictionary is get. Through that also you can get the with the help of key value of that key. Okay, so that is how which you can define dictionaries in Python programming. You can see the output. So first print statement which will give you the complete dictionary. Same way second one which will give you the subject key, and according to that whatever key was assigned, that. Then third print statement which will give you according to that whatever value which was assigned, that class key. Okay, here with the help of predefined function we are accessing value of dictionary, value of dictionary. So that is how mappings dictionary type, data type which you can use in Python programming. Now we come to know what are the different kinds of data types available in Python programming. Different types of data types available in Python programming. Simplest way, data type is the classification of data item is called data type. The classification of data item is called data type. So different types which we can see in Python programming, that is numbers, none, sequence, sets, mappings. Numbers again classified into three types: integer, floating point, complex. For integer again there is subtype called Boolean. Okay. Then none is a data type on predefined keyword. So it doesn't hold any value, which is not same as zero or which is not same as false, which is not same as empty string. None means none only. Okay. Then sequence, ordered collection of data items or values, which we call it as sequence. There are three types of sequence: strings, tuple, list. Strings and tuples are immutable and list is mutable. Okay. Already we know that mutable means which can change the value. Immutable means which cannot change the value. So how we will come to know that mutable and immutable? Okay, mutable identity can be checked: memory, location, address, with the help of identity variable, ID of function, predefined function. Same way, sets are unordered collection of data items of any type. Okay, then we can see sets are mutable. Okay, there is a specific type of set which is immutable, that type which we call it as frozen set. Okay, now mappings also an unordered collection of data items which can hold large amount of Python objects. Okay, so dictionaries are mutable, so which can hold the large amount of objects. Okay, so these are the different kinds of data types which you can make use, and also which we saw another one is type conversion. So converting one data type value into another data type value is called type conversion. There are two types of type conversion which we saw: explicit type conversion, implicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion, Python interpreter automatically which will convert the value to a specific data type, that will take care interpreter. We no need to specify anything for implicit conversion. That's why we call it as Python is dynamic typing. Python is called dynamic typing. And second one is explicit type conversion, where programmer specifies which type you want to convert for the given value. And we saw some of the conversion functions like int function, float function, string function, boolean function. And we saw examples for int and float. Any given data type, any type of value which you can pass int function, which will convert into integer. Same way, float function, any given type of value which will convert into float type value. That is how type conversion which you can do in Python programming explicitly. Okay, so that's all about data types. We will see practical execution of examples next session. Thank you.